Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself, or know your nation, know yourself. The two are interchangeable. All right, so today I wanted this to be quite a quick show. Well, we'll see. Aiming for half an hour, but you know what normally happens. It normally ends up being an hour. But anyways, so one of the things I want to talk about today, which I think is important to discuss, is the aftermath of the eclipses. Now, you guys will know, all of us astrologers and even many of the tarot readers as well have been talking about, you know, the eclipses that just happened. So for those that may have missed it, we had the big lunar eclipse that happened before the solar eclipse this year, with the big lunar eclipse, which often deals with the masses. The moon deals with the masses, all of that kind of stuff. We had, of course, the huge, incredible Princess Catherine saga and all of the difficulties and the stuff that we've seen happening with the royal family as Pluto goes through sidereal Capricorn, as you've heard me saying over and over, which deals with what? Old institutions, governments, top-down structures, hierarchies, etc., but particularly old institutions as well. And of course, in the case of the British royal family, that both are true. They are part of the government. They're paid for by taxes in the UK, and they, you know, it extends to the judiciary, etc., and all of that kind of stuff. And the king is the head of state, and we've seen just what has happened there, haven't we, with Catherine, with her cancer diagnosis, and obviously with the king as well, and all of that. And that feeds into a wider theme as well of what I was talking about when the nodes change signs. I said health and healing. Do you remember I said will be very significant, and also water events and stuff like that. Recently as well, it's been brought to my attention, and I saw the news article myself, the 400-year-old old Dutch, I think it was the exchange, the business exchange. I forget, the words just gone out of my head, but basically it's been there for 400 years, and that's been declared as a national. I said Dutch, didn't I? Excuse me, I meant to say Denmark. I think it was the old exchange in Denmark, which is either completely burnt down or at least on fire, and they've called it a national sort of tragedy. And this is a very Plutonian thing as well, because Pluto does deal a lot with what? Fire, but also as well things, you know, raising from the ashes, the destruction of things in order that new things should come. So we're seeing this, of course, all around the world in politics, etc., and all of that stuff. But before I talk about the nodes of the moon, I also want to discuss Lady G as well. I'm sure she won't mind me discussing her health situation here on my channel. She's been very frank and open and honest, and we have been in touch. So many of you have been sending emails to either myself or Lena, checking in on us to make sure that we're checking in on Lady G. And of course we are. I mean, I talk with Lady G all the time, where we've got each other's numbers and WhatsApp and stuff like that. So yeah, so of course it is very concerning. Many of you will know that she is, I think her last post was talking about that she would have to go in for surgery, and that's exactly, I was just talking with Lady G just a couple of hours ago, and you know, she's probably got, I don't want to go too much into the details of her medical condition, because I'm not exactly 100% sure what she's shared. But nonetheless, it is a significant operation. Now, I've been in touch as well with Jen Bushman, who kindly, she has her own YouTube channel, and you would have seen, she and I, we've done a few collaborations together. She lives quite near to Lady G, so she's offered to kind of like help her out. But also as well, Lady G is a very independent woman, and I don't think it's in her habit to necessarily ask people for help, but she did tell me, and I'm sure she shared on her channel as well, that the recovery time for this is 3 to 6 months. Could be 3 to 6 months. So I would just, anyone watching this, if you could please put out your, you know, your thoughts and your prayers for Lady G to have a speedy recovery. Of course, you know, I spoke with her and left her a voicemail as well, of course, to let her know that I love her very much, and that everyone is rooting for her, and that people are concerned, you know, for her safety. Also, as well, she's got the 2 dogs as well. So I'm thinking, like, well, after surgery, how is she gonna, you know, look after them? So I mean, obviously, that can't be all on Jen Bushman's shoulders, of course. But the I hope she won't mind me saying the hospital. What I would say is, if there's anyone in the area that thinks they can potentially kind of like help out, because I'm sure, you know, Lady G, she's going to need help, you know, with the dogs, you know, stuff like that. I think after major surgery, you know, it's going to be difficult for her to move around and walk. You know, there'll be stitches and, you know, and stuff like that. And I don't want her exerting herself too much. So I hope she won't mind me sharing. But the what's the name of the hospital? 1 minute. It is what is it? So someone else that I've been speaking with said that the hospital she's in is a good one. So it's the Memorial Medical Center in Las Cruces, and of course that is New Mexico. So if anyone, you know, is able to maybe pass by, drop some fruit or some flowers or something like that, because of course, you know, I would be there, of course, in a shot if we were in the same country, but we're not. As you know, I've got the Atlantic Ocean and then some between Lady G and I, and of course, Lena is all the way in Australia. So, but we're trying our best here. What's regular good reach down to door. Okay, so Julie, you know who you are. So she's saying she's reached out to the Dole Foundation and the Women's Veteran Association in New Mexico because, of course, Lady G is a veteran. Need to get scanned. Okay. Okay. Indeed. All right. Well, yeah. I'll keep that private. Let me just put that back here. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, that's just writing back to Judy there. She's going to be on one of my retreats, but we've become really good friends. So she knows a lot about veterans and has advocacy for veterans and stuff like that. So it's good that she's put in a good word. So hopefully, Lady G will pull through this and recover swiftly from her surgery. I would imagine she'll be kind of coming out of surgery around about now, because when I spoke to her, which was a few hours ago, she said they were going to do the operation for the afternoon, and it's right now, because I've been writing and editing, of course, as you guys know, still trying to go for the April 22nd for my book launch, as you guys know. But the time now is 10:43 p.m. 17th of April 2024, my UK time. So I would imagine she's probably had her operation by now, and is probably going to need some help and assistance. So of course, if anyone is seeing this and they can reach out and maybe help Lady G, that would be great. She is a proud lady. She's a proud lady, and I don't think she necessarily wants to ask for help. But I think in this instance, I can ask for her, because we want her to do well, and we've been, even though we still not met physically in person, we've been doing these shows together for like, was it the last 3 years or something like that? I think it's at least 3 years now. Same for Lena and I as well. So it's like, she's a significant part of my life. So big thoughts and prayers out to everyone there for of course Lady G, that she has a speedy recovery. One of the things I wanted to show you guys, so So remember, like, here we are. Let's get the chart calculator out. Yeah. Well, I say chart calculator, it's Hoagie's eclipse calculator. And this is showing where the eclipses are now. So previously, of course, this is sidereally, of course. Previously, the eclipses were in Aries, yeah? Aries and Libra. So because the nodes of the moon spent 18 months in one sign, guys. So when this last 18-month period kicked off, when the nodes of the moon moved into Aries and Libra, the declamatory event, because remember I said the planet's always declamatory, was when the justices SCOTUS got rid of Roe versus Wade. Yeah, Aries, where the eclipse fell, in the middle of Aries is a section of it called Bharani Nakshatra. That's where the eclipse fell, and the Bharani Nakshatra deals with the female reproductive system. Yeah, we all know what, you know, the rest is history since then, and obviously it's become a major political thing. The nodes move backwards. Unlike the planets, they move clockwise. And Rahu and Ketu move anti-clockwise. They're always retrograde. Sometimes they do actually move direct. Every now and again, they might have a little wobble, but the vast majority of the time they are retrograde. So if the planets are going clockwise, they're going to go anti-clockwise. If the planets are going anti-clockwise in the chart, then Rahu and Ketu will be moving clockwise. So anyway, so I'm going to do this on the anti-clockwise motion. So they've been like, they would have started off in Aries, yeah, and then slowly ticked along, ticked along, ticked along. And now, yeah, the nodes of the moon are in Pisces, Virgo axis. Yeah, Pisces, Virgo. Now you guys will remember it in my predictions, in terms of my eclipses predictions. Do you remember I said everything is going to be about health and healing when the nodes of the moon move on all sorts of things. Yeah. Now, if you think, and I said a lot of people are going to be dealing with health issues, yeah, particularly over the next 18 months. Now, this will come to an end, I think, off the top of my head, approximately around the 25th of May, 2025. Yeah, 25th of May, there or thereabouts. I'm quoting just from memory, 2025. So what is it? Themes. They go in 18-month themes. So if we look back to when we were talking about the Roe versus Wade, you remember that we were talking about that consistently for 18 months. That was always in the news, wasn't it? Obviously, it's going to be coming up politically on the ballot again, and you know, all of this kind of stuff. But in terms of the intensity, where it was pretty much discussed every other day, wasn't it? If you think of what us YouTubers were also talking about. So Rahu is now in sidereal Pisces, yeah? Pisces, of course, is oceanic, deals with water events, yeah? Everything connected with water, spirituality and stuff. Let's not forget as well, Neptune is there as well, sidereal Neptune. Now, if you guys cast your memory back, you'll remember I said on the 22nd of February, 2023, this is when Neptune formally moved into sidereal Pisces. I said there's going to be a lot of water events on Earth, lots of stuff to do with storms, flooding, blah, blah, blah. We've seen what has happened. If you guys are not aware of already, now remember Rahu as well also makes things more extreme. So you've got Neptune and Rahu both in Pisces. Just a day or so ago, you guys may have seen there was massive flooding in Dubai. Actually, one of my friends was actually caught up in it all. All of the airport flooded, the streets I mean, we're talking like streets turning into rivers. And obviously this is a very desert-like place. And they had a year and a half's worth of rain fall in one day, according to reports. Sadly, one person died. He was swept away in his car. But we need to understand this is the desert, yeah, desert-like places. And so, of course, with Neptune being in sidereal Pisces, which is already about water, and there's so many planets there already, which were already part of the eclipse. You also have Rahu there as well, which is exaggerating the whole thing. Rahu has a Jupiterian-like quality, is that he can make things expand, but it tends to be in more extreme ways. So, of course, if Rahu is in the sign of Pisces, which deals with large amounts of water or oceanic amounts of water, is it any surprise then, combined with that Neptune energy, Rahu, Neptune, with all the other planets, that Dubai gets an absolute deluge, and they said it's not rained that much for 75 years. And even then, I doubt it was. Even then, I doubt it was a year and a half of rain in one go. And of course, they don't have the infrastructure, you know, for that. My friend was showing me. It was everyone was like walking like ankle deep in water in the malls, buildings leaking water and everything like that. Which, you know, says to me maybe a few corners have been cut here and there, but I don't want to start getting to the politics of building construction in Dubai, because that could take us down some dark holes. But let's just put it this way: these buildings are not made for heavy rainfall. They might be bright and shiny, but they're very leaky. Yeah, what I've been told by my friends who are experiencing it on the ground. But again, that emphasizes what I was talking about. But if we focus too here, if we go here and we look down at Virgo, yeah, this really for me, again, is one of the most significant elements of this transit. K2 deals, if Rahu is extremes and explosions, K2 is extremes as well, but it's a more of an introverted energy, more of a scrutinizing energy, more of a spiritualizing energy, because he's known as the Moksha Kaka, which means liberation from this world. And you heard me say it before, but I'll say it again. There is going to be significant scrutiny of medical procedures, medical events, and all sorts of different things. Remember as well, Rahu is in Pisces, which also deals with liquids of all kinds and pharmaceuticals. Yeah, I'll let you guys join the dots. This is a very interesting time here on planet Earth, because there is a great truth that is emerging in the world, but there's still a tremendous amount of gaslighting going on. And I will also say as well, for entertainment purposes only. Remember too, I also said when Neptune was in sidereal Pisces, we'll be dealing with issues around deep fake. Yeah, you don't need me to repeat how relevant and prescient that has been, especially in recent things, of course, with the saga involving a certain princess, of course, in the UK. That and other things as well. So we've got all of this going on at the same time. Virgo does deal with health and healing and overcoming obstacles, but K2 is scrutiny. K2 can also do a lot with accountability. Now, cast your minds back again, you would have heard me say ad nauseum, but this was years ago. Do you remember I was talking about the accountability of Trump, Duck L'Orange? Now, I made an announcement in November 2021, yeah, when everyone was convinced that he was going to be thrown behind bars immediately and stuff like that. And I said, look, sorry, folks, but I don't see accountability coming for Duck L'Orange until October 2023, yeah? As you know, I had the book thrown at me, yeah, because no one wanted to hear it at that time. No one wanted to hear it. However, things have transpired. And if you see my channel, you will know this already, but at the moment, Duck L'Orange is in his Jupiter K2 dasher. K2 I referred to as snip, snip, because he is associated with cutting things away, or the spiritualization we get via loss. Losses, he can deal with losses. Now, he can also deal with spiritual advancement, and sometimes K2, if he's in the mood, can give someone tremendous gains. But most of the time, particularly if a person has not been living in alignment, then basically K2 can come along and just literally do a snip, snip job. Jupiter is wealth and money, and it sits in Duck L'Orange's second house, which also deals with wealth and money and stuff like that. So anyone who's got Jupiter in the second house, they can actually become immensely wealthy, yeah? But he's also got it there with Neptune, which can also dissolve a fortune as well. We know that he's been bankrupt more times than he's got kids, as far as we're aware. Yeah, I think he's got 5 kids, hasn't he, or something like that, and he's been bankrupt 6 times. And we've seen he had to face those huge fines. Now, obviously, some people are still trying to help Duc Larange. So, you know, we had a little interception where he had, what is it? He had almost $500 million, didn't he? That he had to kind of put down, which almost certainly would have ruined him. But instead, he had to stump up 175. But which he met, I think, allegedly he'd met, and he managed to meet the E. Jean Carroll as well, with another bit of help from the friends, isn't it? Yeah, that company Chubb or something, which is also connected with Russia. So, you know, it's a complex scenario, but now, of course, extra in battle, because now he's got the criminal case, which is also going on. So again, this is another snip, and the judge is not playing. My personal opinion is that I think it should have been televised. Again, I think that's another boon to him. Yes, he will try and fundraise off it, but people need to see it. Yeah, people need to see it and hear it, and have people present their information under oath in public. You know, this is one of the most important. I mean, particularly when you consider that America, you know, loves, you know, virtually televises so many things, but yet this is not televised. But that's my little thing. But the important thing is that the accountability is happening. We will have to see what happens with Duc Larange, because remember too, amongst all of the milieu that has happened already, we have the Mars-Saturn conjunction, which became exact on the 10th. Today's the 17th. But in the lead up to that, of course, we had the incident happen with the Baltimore Bridge, you know, because literally Saturn-Mars combinations can deal with acts of terrorism and accidents and stuff like that. We also had the terrorist attack, of course, in Russia. That energy is now a separating influence, but it's still there. That also feeds in as well to the Iran-Israeli conflict recently, where the drones were shot down and all of this kind of stuff. But the Jupiter-Uranus combination becomes exact or between, you've heard me say before, but for those that haven't heard it, 20th of April to the 22nd of April. Yeah, so today's the 17th. So again, you know, things are peaking. I think we've already seen some of the results of that conjunction between Uranus and Jupiter. Jupiter deals with what? Religion, spirituality, but also connected with the economy as well, optimism, expansion. He expands everything as well. He's in sidereal Aries, yeah, not Taurus, not yet. Taurus is known as a peaceful sign. So, of course, in Western tropical astrology, because they're 24 degrees ahead, because they don't take precession backwards of the stars backwards into account, they're ahead of 24 degrees of the true placements of the stars. Of course, Western astrology still works, but if you actually look at the world and what's going on, do we have peace at the moment? No, we don't. Jupiter spends about a year in each sign. And I said last year, I said when Jupiter moves into sidereal Aries, which I think he did around about March or April 2023, if I remember correctly, again off the top of my head, I said we could see an expansion of wars and stuff like that in the world, because Aries is the sign of war. And that is what we've seen. Rahu was still going through at the moment while he was still there, exacerbating things. We've seen obviously the Ukraine Russia conflict drag on. We also saw several kind of coups and stuff going on in the African states as well, which, you know, barely get a mention. And then, of course, October, you know, last year with the Israeli Gaza conflict, and now, you know, more recently with Israel, Iran. Do you see? It's just been like war, 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 war. Uranus is what? Sudden shocks and surprises, unexpected events, liberation. This can also be known as the Great Awakening, but Uranus famously causes earthquakes. Look what we've seen around the world, where the massive earthquakes have been happening everywhere. But the ones that come to mind, of course, is the huge one that happened in Taiwan. Do you see, you know, that building, you know, they had a 7 point what is it, 7.7 or some doodahs, something like that. Forgive me for not knowing the exact, but there was a 7 in there if I remember correctly. And even New York and New Jersey had an earthquake soon afterwards as well. So that's still very much on the cards. You know, Uranus is lightning. Yeah, I thought I'd wear this top today. You can see, look, just in case you're wondering about the top, there's the cat. I've not worn this top in years. Literally, I wasn't sure if it would still fit, but fits absolutely fine. And so, yeah, this is kind of Uranian energy. He is the god of lightning. The Greeks called him Uranos, who we say Uranus now, which of course is the Roman spelling, but he was originally Uranos, the god, the sky god of lightning. Yeah, and obviously Jupiter is associated with lightning as well. So this means there's still more tumultuous events potentially to come, or sudden shocks and surprises in different things where people might have with their health. One thing I will say, going back to Duc L'Orange, he will have Jupiter so on the 1st of May 2024, Jupiter will enter sidereal Taurus. Now I'm hoping that's going to help calm things down. Then it's going to be more about finances, resources, food, education, values, all of this kind of stuff, aesthetics, beauty, art. Yeah, because Taurus is known as a peaceful sign. However, Taurus may be slow to anger, but when it does, it can really go off the charts. So, you know, I'm not sure if we're quite out the woods yet. However, when Jupiter is there, things, I hope, should calm down a bit. So we will notice this when it moves into the sign on the sidereal placement. So put that note in your diary, 1st of May. However, on the 1st of June, Uranus, the lightning energy, also moves into Taurus as well. And this is really where we could see big changes in global money, finance, crypto, etc. The whole shebang. You've heard me talk about ad nauseum for ages, but look how the world has been developing. Look how much more things are digitalized. Look how much more we're talking about AI as well. So this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is also going to speak about technologies of all kinds. It's also going to speak about AI. It's also going to speak about aliens again. Yeah, Uranus also deals with astrology, aliens, outer space. Saturn is in sidereal Aquarius. So we're going to see increasing developments, the speeding up of tech, innovation, and some unusual, strange things. There may be some strange, unusual religious ceremonies or even cults or, you know, stuff like that, because Jupiter does deal with religion and spirituality. Uranus is sudden shocks and surprises. And I've said before what I think will happen if it's not happened already. But those cows that I mentioned that were the red heifers, the Texan Aberdeen Red Angus that were delivered to Israel around about September 2022, they're now in that window where, of course, part of it is about sacrificing the heifers, who must be perfect, by the way. They can't have one hair of another color. They must be completely perfect. There were 4 heifers, and actually, I think it was 5. I'm trying to remember myself, and 1 is now void. You know, it might have grown a gray hair or whatever, so she'll be spared, you know, whatever. But there's been a whole ramp that's been built, and this sacrifice is said to happen, is arranged to happen on the Mount of Olives, which is overlooking the old Temple Mount, which currently has the Al-Aqsa Mosque on the top. Yeah, so in terms of things with, you know, the Middle East and all of this stuff, I mean, do you see how extraordinary this is all boiling together? And Passover this year is April 22nd, which is when the Uranus Jupiter conjunction will still be exact. So I mean that's on Monday. Yeah, today, like I said, is the 17th, so it's Wednesday today. So there's a lot of astrological drama going on. But coming back to K2 being in Virgo, and, you know, a lot of people sadly are either have had, or will have some sort of health crises this year. I mean, it's just happening everywhere. We all know. We all know. Everyone's got friends, family members who have, you know, been having stuff. I won't list them all out unless of course the censors should get involved, and again for entertainment purposes only, but you know what I'm talking about, folks. So this year is the year of reckoning for all of these kind of things as well, because K2 is scrutiny. K2 is snip snip. K2 along with Saturn can be very punishing to wrongdoers. Yeah. If we think of the case of Saturn, say like with Dr. Larange's chart, because he is a Leo rising and Saturn is currently in sidereal Aquarius, that means Saturn is sitting in Trump's 7th house. The 7th house deals with legalities. Anyone that's not us. It also deals with marriage, partnerships of all kinds. Yeah, partnership, business, etc. Isn't it interesting that in terms of the case, in terms of that has criminal repercussions, should be the Stormy Daniels case, which of course was about his union with her, his affair with her. And of course, that's impacted what? His marriage, because he had the affair when Melania was pregnant with Barron. Yeah, that all of that is beyond doubt, as we know. It's more about the hush money payments, which were made obviously to kind of try and make him look better in the eyes of the electorate, because I think it's a very fair point to say that if everything came out about Trump on or during the campaign of the affair, then that, you know, we probably would, history probably would have been very different, wouldn't it? Because although he won, you know, primarily with the Electoral College, and you know, Hillary still won the popular vote. You know, many people forget that. So it was still a close run thing, and in some states it was very close indeed. That kind of thing coming out almost certainly would have tipped the balance, and that really, because imagine, you know, that's something in terms of those debates. Do you remember when he was hovering? I can still remember those debates hovering around Hillary. That would have been one of her best comebacks. I mean, she obviously got thrown under the bus, as we know. You know, there are a lot of people. She does seem to divide opinion. I don't know that much of the details of Hillary, but she does seem to divide a lot of opinion. But let's just say if that Stormy Daniels stuff was out and about while the campaign was running and while the election was being decided, I think, yes, the result could have been very different. So in terms of what happens with Dr. Larange, I wasn't meaning to speak about him so much, but he's so lined up with the nodes, of course, because he was born on an eclipse. Literally, America's history could have been different. So we'll have to see. One of the things I worry about, because obviously, look, he needs to, you know, face punishment, etc., and all that kind of stuff, and accountability, which he now is. He really is starting to face some accountability, although still being a bit protected. Is that one of the things I'm kind of worried about? If he's still on the ballot, such is the fervor of the moment, I worry that him maybe being incarcerated could actually give him a boost. You know, it's, think of all the crazy upside down stuff that we see, folks. I don't think that is too outlandish a thought to have, given these circumstances and just what we've seen with politics. Also, as well, like I said, Jupiter also deals with law and judges as well. And that means the judges and lawmakers could do something eccentric and strange. Remember, he's down for if he's accountable, or what is it? If he can use a presidential privilege in terms of rounding up the insurrection and stuff and all of that stuff, as we know, I think on or around the 22nd of April. So yeah, next week, SCOTUS is about to make their proclamation on that. We'll see. Maybe they'll delay again or come out with some kind of BS or whatever. But from what I understand it, that is the timeline. And I'm, you know, I have warned people. I said they might do something odd. I'm hoping that they do the right thing and that maybe Uranus will give them an epiphany. Yeah, they'll get an electric shock of epiphany, like kind of like, oh my God, we can no longer support this guy. But that remains to be seen. So for me, that's a bit of a wild card. This conjunction is also happening in Dr. Andres in Trump's 10th house, which also deals with high status, prestige, etc. and stuff like that. So it could mean a sudden fall from grace, yeah, like a lightning shock. So, you know, we'll have to see what happens there. Or does he get a weird boon? I'm hoping that's not the case, but I have to put that out there so you guys are prepared if something very strange and counterintuitive happens, because these are the energies that we're dealing with. And, you know, as you know, I've said all along, do not trust SCOTUS. I think they're corrupt. Again, for entertainment purposes only. So I'm trying to think if I've covered everything. Yes, causing drama, yeah. Yeah, so that's pretty much covered what I wanted to say. So look as well out as well for these themes of health and healing. Now look, it's not all going to necessarily be bad either. There will be innovations too, new treatments, particularly things as well that might be connected with light or energy. Why? Because Saturn is going through Aquarius. Aquarius also deals with science and technologies of all kinds, but also the esoteric sciences, which Uranus also deals with as well. So there may be some radical breakthroughs, some real positives. But what I would say in closing, and this is one of the things I'm really going to emphasize, particularly at the end of the book that I'm writing. I'm just going over the Jupiter chapter. So I've got a few more to go. I'm going to have another late night tonight, and for clients tomorrow, and Thursday fry up tomorrow. So actually I'll post on the community so you can put your questions in there. But I just think in terms of the energies, we're just going to be learning a lot of stuff, folks. There's already so much kind of coming out in regards to, you know, health and healing, and you know, a certain liquid, shall we say, that became very popular, you know, for a few years. Also a liquid that made a lot of people some billions. Yeah, I think about 105 billion, something like that, was made off that. Anyway, and including our Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, when he sold his shares in Moderna, he made I think 160 million pounds. So, you know, just thought I'd throw that one in there. So we're going to see this more and more and more. But like I said, really for me, 2025 is really when the next shoe drops. Yeah. When the next shoe drops, and it's all happening in accordance with the timelines that I thought it would. However, on the more positive element as well, which I will add before I go, even though this Pluto through Capricorn is very difficult, because we're seeing all sorts of corruption rise, aren't we, in governments and business and stuff like that all around the world. Let's not forget, Capricorn is a sign of business. Pluto deals with what? The deepest and darkest of what humanity can do. It also deals with what? Corruption, yeah, fascism and stuff like that. 49% of the global world population is voting this year. So I think we're going to see things moving to the right. Yeah, I anticipate that a lot of stuff is going to move to the right in terms of Europe and stuff like that. There might be some stuff that go more radically left, but that's my instinct, particularly as well as Capricorn is known as a conservative sign. But the Pluto bit deals with fascism, because when Pluto was discovered in 1930, that's what was going on. We need to remember, it wasn't that long ago, and that was all across Europe. So Pluto is now opposite that kind of placement at that time. Or well, going Gemini into Cancer and all that stuff, when all of that stuff was going on, if I remember the history correct. But that's all detailed as well anyway, not exhaustively, but a good précis of what was going on energetically in Europe at that time. So when you guys, when you guys read the book, get the book, particularly when it comes to the outer planets, you're also going to get the historical context of the results that these outer planets give when they're in certain signs. So we are seeing that, but this is also a time of alchemy and magic, but we have to empower ourselves. Even though Neptune is dealing with deep fakes and all of this kind of stuff. You know, it's not Neptune doing it, it's humanity doing it, let's be honest. But he is also back in sidereal Pisces. The last time he was back here was around about 165 years ago, and that was the beginning of the spiritualist movement. The Fox sisters, the seances, Madame Blavatsky, all of that stuff. And then later on, we then had Edgar Cayce, etc. So we're also at a time of great spiritualization as well. And could it be that as more and more truth comes out, as more and more revelations come forth, as more and more people deal with their health crises, they become more spiritualized. They people start looking for alternatives, stuff like that. Aquarius energy is very alternative. Saturn is there until 2025. Uranus is the co-ruler of Aquarius. Rahu is also one of the rulers of Aquarius. So I think we're going to see a lot of alternatives coming forward in health and healing and medicine. A lot of people doing much more energy work, sound work. Yeah, Neptune also deals with music as well, higher octave of Venus. So I think things to do with energy work, sound work, light work, quite literally like using light in the body, as well as light workers as a whole, kind of stepping up more, because we can't be passive now in the face of what is happening in the world. We just need to join the dots and see. But it's not a fait accompli either. But this is about actively stepping into that energy of magic. Like I said, we're going into Dwapara Yuga, which is all about energy, technology, magic. Do your research, do your studies, positive spells, prayers as well for humanity. Yeah, everything kind of, you know, the worst, you know, being avoided for peace, but also as well, light worker interventions, stuff like that. But also as well, the hypocrisies in the world also have to be called out as well, because there's a tremendous amount of hypocrisy in politics right now, which everyone can see. Also as well, I think in these elections, as I've said before, how the youth vote will also make a huge impact. Huge. I think it's being underestimated and in many ways ignored, but it will be significant in this year's elections. And the next set of eclipses, it's not that we want to think too much of the next ones, but remember they happen 6 months apart. They'll be happening in October, you know, so in a matter of weeks before the presidential election happens in the USA. But you know, we've got also as well huge votes going on in India as well, and so many places, Europe, etc. So much going on. Canada's got some interesting stuff coming up. I think they have their main proper elections in 2025. But you know, 49% of the world is voting this year. We also have to keep our eye out as well for the BRICS currencies and all of this kind of stuff. Important cases happening with crypto as well, particularly with the American regulator, the REC. I can't remember what it stands for now, but they're basically one of the financial regulators. They're looking at Coinbase and XRP, and a lot of that is to be decided as well, hopefully in the positive, because it is the future. So there is a tremendous amount going on. So if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, or you're just like, oh my God, the world's going, you know, to hell in a handcart, you know, I can understand why you're feeling that way, because we've got so much astrological weather. But at least I hope if you're hearing this, this makes sense. But again, going back to the positive, alchemy, yeah, that's the positive side of Pluto, turning the lead into gold. Alchemy, magic, Neptune, spirituality, transcendental spirituality, great things with the films, arts, etc. So you know, get creative as well. All of that stuff. Get spiritual, get creative, but also as well, I would say, come together. Saturn is going through sidereal Aquarius, and that does deal with community. Look how the community here is trying to reach out to try and help Lady G as well. So you know, there is the power of people. Never forget that. A big part of why I'm even publishing this book in the first place is so that we can all start rowing in the same direction, using the energy in a focused way. And I would hope, you know, that with time that would gather and gather, and it will make a significant difference. Not just me, of course, other people. We're all doing our light work and our stuff, but I just think it's just important that we all pull together. So I think that's covered absolutely everything there. So yeah, that's like coming up to 45 minutes now. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that. Please don't forget as well to share, like, and subscribe. And you will see me tomorrow on Thursday. Fry up. I will post something in the comments community for you to leave your questions. So I will see you tomorrow. So I will leave it there for now. And let's see here if I can end this recording in time. Typical, isn't it? The button's just gone weird. But I will leave it there. Why can't I end this? Pressing this button, and oh, there we go. There we are. Oh no, God. Now it's gone weird again. Anyway.